So this is the story of how I got forced into rehab when I was 15 years old and how it absolutely changed my life. I didn't really feel like eating dinner alone tonight, so I figured, why not talk to the camera? And I'm feeling a little vulnerable today. And in the past, when I've shared this story, I've said it in a very joking tone. And now that I'm older and I have my own business where I'm helping others, I want to share the more vulnerable side of what had happened. So it kind of all started my second day of sophomore year. I walked into class, I opened up my backpack, and there was a baggie of substances, of pills, and I had no idea what they even were, where they came from, and I was really shocked and really scared at that moment. And so I went to the bathroom and flushed them down the toilet, and I went back to class, and all of a sudden there was an officer there and wanted to have me go up to the office. So I went up to the office. They did a search. I knew they weren't going to find anything at that point, and I had left. But the vice principal and I had a really good relationship. She knew my family. So I went back and I told her I had found something, but it was gone. And I was just really scared because I don't know where it came from or why someone would, plant this on me if that was the case. And, she said that she would keep an eye out and let me know if she heard anything. But I guess you can't really tell much to a teenager that you assume is selling drugs. So about a week later, I walked into school again. I was walking to class, and immediately I got, stopped by the officer, the vice principal, everybody. They had brought me up to the office. They pulled off my backpack, and in the strap of my backpack, somebody had cut a hole and shoved another baggie of pills in there. And immediately I was arrested. I was expelled from school. I had to go to the hospital and take a drug test, and I completely failed the drug test. At this point, I thought that I was genuinely going crazy, because how could I fail this drug test and have these drugs on me without ever, doing that prior? Like, of course I was a teenager and we had done some stuff here and there, but not to that level. So I started freaking out. I thought that I must be clinically insane at this point. So my family decides to have me fly to Utah and visit some other family members while they figure out kind of what to do with me. And upon returning home, I got told I was going to go visit this facility. And I walked into the facility and my bags were there, and I was stuck there for, in total, 94 days. And I was the only teenager in that facility for all 94 days. There were no other teenagers. It was just me hanging out with a ton of therapists and counselors. That whole time I continued to tell them, this is not me. And now looking back, I realize what I had done, but I wasn't able to put it into words yet. But I realized I could not change the situation I was in. Nobody was going to believe me. The science had backed that I was on these drugs. And I had to just make a decision that if the situation can't change, I have to change who I am in this situation. So I completely just accepted the fact that I was going to go through all the therapy. I was going to go through everything they recommended for me to do. I was going to go to the AA meetings. I was going to go to the NA meetings. But I was not going to lie and say that I had a problem. So I continued to go. I continued to say that I was support. I listened to the heartbreaking stories that everyone was sharing. And I listened also to the amazing stories of people that had gone through recovery and were living this amazing life now. And I think although I wasn't able to take the same message, I was still able to learn a lot about who I am and who I want to be. So I was told after 90 days I was going to be released, and my 90 days was here. I was so excited, and they told me I was not leaving, and I freaked out. I was throwing things. I was cussing at them. I was really, really mad because I had done everything they told me to do, even though I shouldn't have been there. 4 days later, I was told I could go home, and upon arriving home, my whole step family was gone, and, they didn't really tell me why. They just said that they were no longer together, and to me, I wasn't really close with them, so it wasn't a huge deal. But then about a year later, I had gone the whole entire year being sober. I again was not addicted, so although I celebrated like my sober birthday, it didn't feel like a huge accomplishment to me. And I actually had gone out to dinner with a previous stepmother, and she asked me, like, do you know what happened? And I said no. And she proceeded to tell me that my stepfamily was responsible for everything that had happened to me. I left that dinner and I immediately called my mom. She broke down crying. She told me that it was all true and that they were advised through the rehab not to tell me, and that she was sorry, and so on and so forth. For a while, I was really upset. I was very hurt that my family could so blatantly lie to me, that everybody around me was okay with making me feel absolutely insane when I wasn't insane. I knew the whole time that something had happened to me that was out of my control. Talking about it in a way and not making jokes about it is painful. But I'm happy that my family and I have gone through the therapy and we've done the work to have a close relationship again. However, the reason I say that it was the best thing that had happened to me was because it taught me that no matter what happens to me, I can pull through, I can trust myself, I can persevere, and shitty situations will come, but it's really about how you respond to them and how you can learn from them. And that's what I share so much with my clients. Like, life sucks. It's gonna be hard. It really is. But it's all about your perspective and your mindset with it. You have to have a positive outlook. You have to be able to look at what lessons you had learned regardless of the situation. So that was about 14 years ago, and there has still been many struggles, many hurdles. A lot of you know that I also have multiple sclerosis, and I've been using my platform to speak on that as well. But I guess the whole purpose of this was not only for me to just talk about it and get it off my chest, but also possibly bring hope to some of you that may be going through a situation that you don't understand why you're in it, and share that if you just change your perspective and you change your mindset and you try to look at what good is going to come out of it, you will be okay.